this down here. All right, welcome. Why am I not live? Why is it not showing up? So those of you who are watching, can you just chime in to see if you can see me? Or let me know if you can see me. I can't see myself on my computer, which is worrying me a little bit. Oh, and there I am. And I shut off my sound, but it keeps going. There we go. All right. Technology. So I don't know if it's Hurricane Debbie, Tropical Storm Debbie. I don't know what's playing games with my computer, but my sound was off and yet I was on and my mouse wouldn't work. But here I am. At least I am in landscape mode this week. Hi, Ruth. Glad you could make it. Ruth is from Florida, and Ruth has graciously sent the remnants of Hurricane Debbie up our way. And I'll tell you what, it's been beautiful here all week. Unlike in July when it was nothing but sticky, hot, humid, bleh. This week, most of this week has been relatively dry, cool. It's been very, very nice. But tonight, the humidity has returned. And so I kind of feel like it's appropriate that I'm using Mediterranean blooms because I assume it's somewhat humid in the Mediterranean. Don't know, never been. Let me know in the comments if you have been somewhere in the Mediterranean area. I'd love to know who of you have traveled and what it's like there. So tonight we are going to be doing a Faux Twisted Ribbon card. And this is kind of a precursor to my Technique Tuesday that I'm going to be having on my Tune In Tuesday class this coming Tuesday. So I have started a technique focus on the first or the second Tuesday of each month. And so I did watercoloring for 2 months in a row, and now I've moved on to something else. And next month I'll move on to something else. But I wanted to do techniques that involved scraps or at least small strips. Reba says she was on a Mediterranean cruise many years ago. Was it wonderful? Let me know. We have cruised, but only to the Caribbean. So, and that was nice too, but I'm up for some other travel. I'd like to find some other nice places to go, I think. So anyway, that's what's coming. And so I wanted to give you a little precursor. And in fact, for those who do participate and get the class kit from my Tune In Tuesday class, then I will include a kit to do tonight's card too, as well as next Friday's card. So you'll get kits, you'll get 5 card kits, one for each of the cards that I do. Ooh, that makes 6. No, you'll get 6 card kits using a bunch of scraps. And of course, you can use a lot of your own scraps if you want to, but I will be including some scraps with your things. So let's go ahead and turn you down and get started tonight, shall we? All right, so sorry about, there's my hand. And here we gotta just adjust this a little bit so we get the black out of the corner. And then see if we can come down a little bit, get a little bit closer. There's our host code if you need a host code to order. My stand is getting a little loose, I think. All right, there we go. So let's see. Reba said that her cruise was too beautiful to describe. Ooh, wonderful. Wonderful. I can join you in Aruba. And you know what? My husband wants to go to Aruba, but it won't be in December. We're thinking about January or February, Ruth. But let me know where you stay. You know, send me a message where you're staying and how it was or how you think it's going to be. I'd love to know things, especially if you've been there before. All right, so we're going to be starting with a base of Lemon Lolly cardstock. And I chose Lemon Lolly because it goes very nicely with the Mediterranean Blooms paper or cardstock. not paper, I mean, not cardstock, Designer Series paper. Now, if you have not seen the Mediterranean blooms, it's on page 34 and 35 in your catalog, the 2024-2025 catalog, and just really pretty rich colors, lemons and citrus oranges, some pretty blue tile kind of stuff too. Just really, really pretty. Now, one thing to note, I will be using these gems tonight, but they are out of stock until September 9th. So that's too bad, but I don't have the bundle. I just got rid of one of my citrusy bundles, but I did love the paper. I love the colors in the paper, and I thought they looked fresh and clean and beautiful. So that's what I'm going to be using. And in case you didn't know, Designer Series paper is on sale for 15% off during the month of August. So in this, if I show you some of the fuller sized sheets here, this is what we're going to be using tonight. It's got these pretty lemons on the back, and we're either going to be using this backside as well, or we'll be using this pattern. I'll let you choose. But you can see on the backs look totally different than the fronts. But you can imagine some of the tiles that you might see on floors in the Mediterranean. And so let's see, you've seen these. Okay, so some of these patterns look very, very similar, but they're different in size. And then you've got some more oranges, and then you've got this lighter pattern here. So just some really, really pretty patterns here, where you can really just create a card that just really uses Designer Series paper, and it will be beautiful. So we're going to need a couple other things. I'm bringing in a piece of Night of Navy that is 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. All of these measurements are going to be on my blog, and it is linked in the video description down below. You'll need a piece of basic white that is 2 inches by 5 1/2 inches. You'll need a scrap piece of basic white. That's going to be for our sentiment. Ooh, I just dropped a piece of paper that I'm going to need. And then you're going to need 3 or 4 strips of Designer Series paper that measures 1 1/2 inch by 12 inches. Now, if you're going to be using a pattern like this one and its opposite side, which is what I did in my sample, then you'll only need 3 of these strips. But if you use, say, these 2 and this smaller one, which I think what do you think? Do you want to try a different one? Do you want to try this one tonight, or do you want to do the one that was in my sample? And I can show you that one again. Just got to go across the room and get it. So this was with the larger print. I think I'd like to use the smaller print just to see how that changes the look of things. In general, I think I probably would like it best if there was not a lot of stuff I'm trying to figure out in it. So like, I mean, I know these are lemons, but if I didn't know they were lemons, I might wonder like, what is that pattern? So it's probably best to kind of stay away from that. Let's go ahead and use this. Nobody's really chiming in anyway, so I'll just pick. We're going to begin with this piece right here, and it will be to your advantage if you bring out, when you're doing these, a silicone mat. If you do not have thank you, Sheila. If you do not have a silicone mat, this is going to be great because your glue is not going to get on your table. It's not going to, your paper's not going to stick to places it's not supposed to. It's going to be very, very helpful. Now, before I get started here, you may notice in this card that everything looks pretty orderly. You know, it's a uniform pattern going down, and that's because we made it that way on purpose, and you're going to as well. I'm going to bring in my Simply Scored tool. Now on my Tuesday video, I show you how you can just do this by marking increments, but you can do it with a scoring tool as well, and it's not going to show. Not only it's not going to show because there's no ink involved or pencil lead, but because you're actually covering up where these lines come across the paper. So I am just scoring at 1/2 inch intervals all the way down here. Now this may be difficult for you to see on camera, but let's see if I can, so you can see right in there. You can see that there are lines right there. When I'm actually putting my paper on, you may not be able to see the lines. But trust me when I say I'm following them. Now I like the darker color in the back. For some reason, the darker color just seems to me to be the wrong side of the paper. It's not the wrong side of the paper, it's just what I would consider the wrong side. So I'm going to start, and you don't have to cut this, but if it's easier for you, you can start by cutting these into 3-inch lengths if it's more manageable for you. I'm going to do it both ways, and you can choose which one you think looks better to deal with. So if I just cut this into 3-inch lengths, now I'm going to actually need, I think, an extra strip, because I don't know that I planned, oh no, I did cut it already. You'll only really probably need a strip and a half of each one, but you can use this extra strip, either one, on the insides of your card to decorate. That one I'm going to leave. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to start laying my DSP down, and I'm going to glue along as I do it. I'm just going to put a little bit down there. I don't have to cover the whole thing, and I don't have to go all the way to the end. And I'm going to start by making sure that this right-hand edge goes up to the corner of the white piece, and then down here the DSP meets on that score line. You can't see the score line because I covered it up, but it's right there where it meets the edge. And then I'm going to continue that thing. Now, you could, if you wanted to, start alternating. Like I could put this one down, and then I could put this one down, but you'll probably find it's easiest to not get confused if you now skip 1/2 inch, and I'm going to put this top part of my DSP on the score line, and then the top part of the other end meets the score line at the edge. And you should be able to see that there's 1/2 inch between them, which is by design. You're just going to continue this all the way down. So it's pretty simple, and you know you're wrong if there's not an equal spacing in there. So this edge is at the top of a score line. This edge meets the bottom of that. The top of the edge meets the score line beneath it. So it's on a diagonal. Having trouble talking? Ooh, I cut one too short. That means one of these is too long. But that's okay, because you'll see at the end we need one that's shorter anyways. So same thing, top up here, and we're going to put it right there. Now, because I'm only keeping my glue in the middle, if I end up having to move it a little bit up or down, it's not a problem. I haven't put so much glue on that it's going to be getting all over my white piece of paper. Top. And I normally wouldn't pick this up. I think it's just easier probably for you to see, or I hope it is anyways. Now see at this bottom part, it's supposed to go right here to right here, and this one's a little bit too short. I'm gonna cut the other one. Must have been talking. Okay. And now we're going to do the same thing, and this one just hits right down at the corner. All right. So we'll adjust that right there. So we have all our blues done. Now you'll see some glue right here. When it's white, it's wet. When it's dry, it's clear, and you can just rub it right off. Doesn't stick. All right. Yes, Sheila, I do like the scoring idea as well. It is a little bit hard, like if your eyes are you know, if your eyes have a little bit of trouble, like mine do, sometimes it's nice to have the darker lines of the pattern, but I'm making do. All right, so now what we're gonna do, and there's more than one way to do this. So I'm gonna show you how this is done, but I'm gonna talk to you how there's an alternate. So the alternate is you kind of crisscross these. So they twist in, it's like they twist in the middle, as opposed to they kind of twist and flip on the side. So it's almost like what's done here is you fold it over and then it comes back down and weaves back and forth. I kind of like this pattern, but I've seen both and they're both lovely. They're just different. So we're gonna continue with the way we're doing it here. And this makes it really simple. You can glue, in fact, I'm gonna actually trim my edges right now. It's easier to trim through one layer. So you just flip it right over, run your scissors right along that edge. Okay, there will be a little bit of glue on there, and you'll just want to clean your scissors with some alcohol when you're done. It is getting breezy out now. Breezy and tropical feeling. Thank you very much, Debbie. All right. Sorry, I just hit the camera. All right, so now you can see you got some of the excess stuff off. It might be easier to work with. You're going to basically cover up the designer series paper that is on this left edge and make it match up with the designer series paper on the right edge. And then you're going to trim. And I think you're going to see very quickly that it's probably best to start with 3-inch pieces. It's going to be easier. You're not going to have to keep trimming to get to the next step. Not that that was difficult, it wasn't. But now I've got an angle here. It doesn't matter because I'm going to start off the paper and I'm just going to match this over the top again. So you've got this optical illusion going on that it's kind of flipping when it hits the edge. Or you can think of it as, you know, this has just been wrapped around and come back up, but somehow got twisted in the process. So I definitely like having the smaller pieces first. Definitely speeds things up. And I can come back, I can see that that's a little bit of a rough cut, so I can come back and neaten that at the end. See how simple this is? Pretty simple dimple. Oops, and now I'm gonna need my other piece here because I've run out. I don't believe I'll have enough. I might have enough at the end. Nope. So we're just gonna keep going. Ruth, did you guys get much damage down there from the hurricane? I always think about how, like, we don't, my son freaks out about bad weather, but like, honestly, up here in Maine, we just don't get bad weather, not like other people do. Like, our hurricane is not like a Florida hurricane. Our tornadoes, not like what some people get. So this last one, again, I'm going to go from the score line over here to the bottom corner, and that will be done. And that's where this mat really comes in handy. Now I'm gonna just cut this off. I'm gonna let my glue set up for just a second so that we can turn our attention to something else. While I'm letting that dry, I want to give you a quick sneak peek of the cards that we're going to be doing for Tune In Tuesday using scraps. So this is what started it all. I had some pretty scraps. I had the crumb cake and the Blackberry Bliss on my desk, and I'm like, oh, what goes with that? And let me use up those scraps. And then we make a what I'm calling a pretty brick in the wall card. And then here is the double twisted ribbon that I was talking about. And then this one comes from page 110 in the catalog, and I show you how to do this paper weaving, and it was so much fun to create. So those are the cards coming up on Tuesday, and I don't normally give sneak peeks like that, but there you go. All right, now this glue is pretty much dry. I'm gonna just rub it off. And I'm gonna trim. Nice and close. Get rid of those little pieces. They've got residue on them. I'm going to come up this other side because I can just see a couple of places where it just extends beyond where I want it to. And I'd like it to be nice and flush. Oh, my scissors are getting a little gunky. Imagine that. Okay, so now we have our twisted ribbon. We're going to take this and we're going to apply some more adhesive. And you know, I've been using glue because you know glue's my favorite, but if you want to use Stamp and Seal or you know some kind of tape runner, go for it. That all works. You're just going to mat this. Oh, I didn't cut this piece of paper. Hold on. I got to cut it to the right size. I forgot I started with one that was too big. And we're just going to match this up so it goes right to the top and bottom, but you've got extra on the sides. Now, if at some point you notice, like I noticed one of these little edges right here wasn't stuck down. Quick fix. Nobody ever knows. The rest are pretty good. All right, so just matting it on that kind of grounds it, will help it set it off from the card base. So now when we put this right on the card base, pretty, huh? I love this blue and yellow together, and looks like I probably want to cut this off a little bit at the top. I think I'm cutting my blue off too, but oh well. Just gonna put that right there. And then we just need a sentiment, and need to add some bling. So this piece right here is so that we can add a sentiment. And I'm going to bring in my heartfelt hexagon stamp set. And I have already inked up, but I hope your day is filled with joy. So we'll get out our Night of Navy ink pad. Ooh, I stamped it upside down. It's a good thing I'm punching this out, huh? We'll take our hexagon punch. I love this hexagon punch. It's just got enough of a, interesting shape. It goes with round, it goes with rectangular stuff. I should have cut a piece that was a little bit bigger so I could put it in here nicely. Now what I'll usually do, even because I work it sideways, so I'll press down a little bit and then I'll move it sideways, but you got to press down enough so that it holds it in place. Like, oh, I need to come down a little bit more. And make sure my words are kind of centered where I want them to be. And now we'll just grab some dimensionals. I've got some edge dimensionals that I need to use up. I'll put those right on here. So tell me, what's your favorite designer series paper from this current catalog? You can also say anything online as well, I suppose, but what's your favorite paper? I'm going to think about what mine is too. I don't know if I can answer that one. Right now, this one's pretty high on the list. I'm going to bring in these gems. Oh, you know what? One of my favorites is one that's coming out in September. And I have it. I can show you a sneak peek. This paper is very beautiful. This is called the Nests of Winter. And it is not a Christmas set, but you could certainly make cards that grow for Christmas with this. But really pretty birds. Some of the designs, some of the birds can be cut out using a die. We've got pool party on the back there. We've got more birds that can just be a background, or you can fussy cut with pretty green stripes. Well, green with white stripes. I think it's these birds that can be cut out with the dies. I don't think it's these ones. These ones are kind of intricate. These ones are a little bit plainer. Again, a pretty pool party design. You've got this pretty birch tree. This bundle, the suite of products, happens to have a birch tree embossing folder that comes with it. Well, with the suite. It's got this kind of, I don't know, Queen Anne's lace kind of thing on the back. It's got this pussy willows with birds. You're just seeing the upside down, but the other half looks exactly like this, only faces the other direction. And then more pussy willows with a birch background. So I do love that paper. That is coming in September. Demonstrators, of course, can have it now. It's not on 15% off sale for us right now, but it's coming and available to order soon. For current paper, this is probably my favorite. This is the Wildly Flowering, and I have a class coming up. I know some of you have registered for that. Tomorrow is the last day to register for this class. It is 4 cards. You will get a full package of this designer series paper and a spool of linen thread. And we'll create 4 designs. You'll get the rest of the supplies to create those 4 cards. And that's $25. It's $35 if you want to do a class by mail, because 12 by 12 is expensive to mail. But deadline for that is tomorrow. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to add some bling here. And I thought, oh, it's kind of fun filling the O in joy with a little gem. And we could add some more here, and I don't really know what I want to add. Let's add, I did it a little bit differently on the other card. Can just do 3 there. I could add some clear ones other places, but I think I'll stop at 3 with this one. You can see I did 5 here. I did 1 up here, 2 down here, 1 and 1. So do what you want there. And as I said, you've got some extra paper left over. Lemon Lolly is a light enough cardstock so that you do not have to line it. If you like the look of a white layer inside, of course you would do that as well. But you could just go ahead and run a thin line of glue up the side and attach a little strip of this DSP. And there's your card. So I hope you will join me for my Tune In Tuesday class this Tuesday. Everybody's got scraps. I'm going to turn you around right now. Everybody's got scraps. We all are swimming in scraps. So go ahead and tune in, see if you can be inspired to make something with those scraps. I will be here Tuesday on my YouTube channel, and then next Friday I will be coming to you live from the family cabin. And I've got a team meeting with the people that are sort of up in that area, or at least close to that area, and can get there pretty easily. I'm going to be doing that on Friday morning, and then I have Friday Night Live coming up there. And for Friday Night Live, I have another strip. That almost sounds bad. I'm not stripping. I'm going to be using paper strips and scraps to create a quilt-inspired card. So there's a quilt design, a star quilt, I think it is, and we'll be using scraps to do that. And honestly, I thought it was so much harder than it is, and there's a cheat that makes it super easy. So I hope you will join me next Friday for that as well. That's it for tonight. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. It's supposed to be beautiful here once this icky, sticky stuff goes away. And I'm going to enjoy it. I hope you will too. Have a great weekend.